Good to have you on another edition of your program, our program, where we encourage children to form a good reading habit. Readers for Growth. I am Busola Faiga Okpeolu. And on the program this week, I have somebody who has been in the corporate world for many years. He's also a coach. Idonrinyen. Don't go away, we'll be right back. On the program today, I have Victor Amao. How are you, Victor?
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you, ma'am.
Fauzia Bello Ibrahim, how are you?
I'm fine.
David Ibrahim, how are you?
Thank you, ma'am.
It's nice having you here.
Thank you, ma'am.
And Jemima Ali,
Thank you, ma'am.
nice having you on Readers for Growth. Our guest on the program this week is somebody who's been in the corporate world for many, many years. He's also a coach. I'm talking of Idonrinyen. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
It benefits to read. You grow higher when you read, and you gain wisdom when you read.
Readers who read to improve themselves, who read to educate themselves, and who read for success rule the world.
For you to grow and become a senator, you must learn how to read. Read to understand. Read as many books as you can.
Reading helps you develop yourself intellectually, academically, and otherwise.
The secret to being proficient in reading is to read every day and to read outside of your curriculum, to read novels and to read books of interest.
A well-read child is a cultured child, a successful citizen, and the future of our great country. And that's why all parents need to encourage their children to read.
Read today, lead tomorrow. Welcome back.
Please, what was early school life like to you? What was early school life like to you?
What was your early school life like?
Yes, thank you very much. That would be Victor. I was trying to capture the names as you went on. My early school life was very interesting. I started from a nursery school, St. Catherine's, and then I went over to Baptist Academy at secondary level. I would say between my nursery primary school and secondary school, I was able to have a group of friends. I was able also to learn a lot about ethics. I was able to learn a lot about what to do and how to grow in the fear and nurture of God. And more importantly, I think it was more about personal values. So growing up was really about forming and shaping my personal values.
Thank you.
Good day, sir. Please, I would like to ask you whether you had access to books when you were young.
Yes, I had access to books because then we had, in all the schools that I attended, up till secondary Baptist Academy, we had functional libraries. And apart from that, we also had libraries in the city. There was one library at Yaba then, I remember very vividly. But in school, both in my primary and also secondary, we had libraries. And so we also had opportunities where our parents were always buying us books, and we read a lot of novels, folklore and drama, series then. So I think we had libraries around then. So we tended to get books from the library in my early days. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Good day, sir. I would like to ask, was there pressure on you as a child to be a doctor or a lawyer?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, in my book, I have a particular aspect where I put it down there, and it's now become more of a joke between my dad and I. My father, okay, let me say first and foremost, I was a rounded student because I was in arts. I had art subjects, science subjects, and all of that gave me an opportunity to swing either as a science student or a social science student or a pure art student. So at the end of the day, my dad wanted me, he desired that I'll be an architect or a medical doctor or an engineer. But somehow I did not, that was not the line I wanted. My very first JAM form, an exam I wanted to take, in my JAM form, I failed theater arts. And my father was very angry with me and told me to go and change it. How did I want to be a comedian? Those days we had Babas Aluwe, and there was a character called Aluwe and Babasala, and he would laugh and say to me, "Go away, do you want to become a Babasala?" And so I really wanted to stay in the arts, but my father wanted me to go into engineering, but somehow we managed to pull through. I did not go that way. I ended up in the social sciences studying economics. So yes, I was under that pressure too, to go, to either be a doctor or an architect or an engineer.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Sir, please, who is a coach?
Okay, very interesting question. A coach is someone who has gone through a series of experiences and is able to help an individual move from a point in his or her life to another point. Meaning, a coach is someone who can assist you in your development and let you move whatever you desire to have or to make happen for you, either in terms of your career or your life or your sport. A coach is somebody that will help you, move from point A to point B. Very different from a mentor. So a coach is someone that would assist in your development and to help you move from one point to the other.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Busola, for this opportunity, and so good to see you, children. I'm about to tell you a story that will form into something that you'll make of life. Life is a journey. Life is a journey because it has an end and it has a beginning. It's almost like somebody setting out on a journey. Your belief is that you will get to that destination. So everybody setting out in life must have a destination. When you don't have a destination in a journey, the ability to go or to get to that point will be very, very difficult. And so it is important that we all start from a point where we are destination minded. And as young people in your very young age now, I want you to begin to have a picture of a destination where you want to find yourself in terms of your career, in terms of your life, and in terms of who you want to be tomorrow, the type of person that you want to be. That in itself is a destination that you have at the back of your mind. But to get to that destination, you imagine a bus or a car. Somebody has to stay behind the driver's seat. That person is called the driver. You will be the driver in this case, and there are several things that you require to ensure that the journey will be smooth. Number one is believing and trusting God for the gift of life, that regardless of what you do, God will grant you grace and life so that you get to your destination happy, hale, and hearty. Once the God factor is in place, Every other thing you then require will be in your hands. Number one, do you want to be successful in your career? Maybe you want to be an architect. You know that becoming an architect is not just sitting back and saying it every morning. You need to study. You need to read. You need education. You need to have the right kind of values. You need to begin to do everything you have and follow the process. One thing I must tell you today is that process is what determines progress. Without process, there cannot be progress. Any man or woman that you see that has gone through process, you will always find them being successful. Why are they successful? They are able to bring about better life for others. They will become touch points. They will become lighthouses for others to follow. And at the end, what happens is that a city, a nation, a state, a community gets better because such people have become lighthouses. What is a lighthouse? If you look at ships on the sea, the ships run on the sea, but they require something to tell them where to go and where not to go and where to berth. That's a lighthouse. It's like a control tower. There's a control tower that tells aircraft when to land, when to take off. That person becomes a person of influence. So whatever you want to do, you must look forward to becoming a person of influence. And being a person of influence means that you are touching lives, you are making people better than you met them, and at the end of the day, your environment, your community, your country will be better because you took on responsibility and ownership to be a great person and a person of influence.
Thank you. Do you have any question for him? Do you want to ask any question?
Yes,
Go ahead,
sir.
David.
Sir, all this you just said, did you achieve them when at our age right now?
He said all what you just explained. Did you achieve them in life?
By the grace of God, thus far, God has helped me. I have, to the best of my ability, been able to achieve most of the things that I set out to do. As you will find in my book, In the Grip of Grace, it's a chronicle of how my life started and where I am today. What I'm doing today is reaching out and being an under shepherd. So I have a company called Corporate Shepherds, and I've been able to discover my life purpose, which is to help people, to make them develop and become better. And so in my community, I make the best of efforts to make my community better. I make the best of efforts to reach out to the next generation. I continually work in building the younger generation, showing them the pathway of how they can be better in life and making sure that the mistakes I made, they will not make the same mistakes. And so I have a radio program called Navigate with ID. It runs on 6 radio stations across the country. And by the grace of God, this month we are moving to 10 radio stations. And on that program, I teach people about ways in which their careers, their lives, their families, and their businesses can get better. And all they need to do is to live a life of values and ethics. So I am fulfilled doing that, and I'm enjoying it because I want everyone that comes in contact with me to be better than I met them. Just like I'm trying to do with you today, to inspire you to greatness, because every one of you have what it takes to be great.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Jemima?
Yes, I wanted to ask that, did your mother also put pressure on you to become a doctor or a lawyer?
No, in all fairness, my mom never put pressure on me at all. My mom was a great supporter and still is today. She, for her, in her own case, whatever I wanted to do, she would tell me that she would give me all the support.
Okay, let's go into the book now.
Follow me to chapter 4 of my book, In the Grip of Grace. Chapter 4 is titled A Door Called Guinness. Coincidentally, I ended up working at Guinness. That same place that I saw as an 8-year-old, I later joined that company at the age of 24. So let me read from chapter 4, and then I'll take some parts of it. Chapter 4, A Door Called Guinness. That is a title. Back in the 60s and 70s, youths from my ethnic group were known for taking on service roles like housekeepers, cooks, or something no less menial. The males were derisively addressed as Ete, while the females were known as Ekaite. With the advent and media popularity of Gringori, a notable TV character of the New Masquerade TV drama series back in the days, it was like our fate was sealed with such narrative. I convinced myself early in life that I was never going to toe that path. So by the grace of God, I defined the path I wanted to follow much earlier in my life. As a young man, I wanted to be a merchant banker because I loved how they looked, neat in their clean white shirts, nice suits, and straight ties. I couldn't just help thinking of being one someday. So I wanted to be posted to the International Merchant Bank for my 1-year mandatory National Youth Service, which we call NYSC. Unfortunately, that dream did not come true. The 3 weeks in camp left an indelible print in me. In my last day in the orientation camp filled me with mixed emotions. During my youth service year, I made a lot of friends, some of whom I still communicate with till date. I was initially posted to Eneka Girls Secondary School, River State. I was not happy with the posting. To avoid serving there, I masterminded a plan with my cousin Udrak. We arrived at the school, and the principal was thrilled by the fact that a corps member was posted to teach his students economics and mathematics. But his excitement was short-lived. You could literally see his jaw drop when I opened my mouth to speak and began to stammer. Livid with rage, he bellowed, "What nonsense! How could they send the stutterer to teach economics and mathematics in my school?" My cousin, on the other hand, who knew my plan, was at a distance laughing his lungs out. 5 minutes later, I got my rejection letter from the school. Bubbling with excitement, I wasted no time in running back to the NYSC secretariat to announce to them that I had been rejected. "Where will you now go to?" one of the NYSC officials asked. I said, "Send me to ELF Nigeria Limited," I retorted without hesitation. ELF Petroleum was a leading oil and gas company. At that time, they had rejected some corps members already sent to them, yet I insisted that I wanted to go there and try my luck. "If you are rejected there again," the NYSC official warned, "we are going to send you to Isiopo." Isiopo was another village, and I appreciated them and left. While leaving, I passed through the narrow corridor which served as a passage that led to the open field and stumbled across the same principal of Eneka Girls School. He was walking towards me furiously, angry and talking loudly. The minute I sighted him, I bent my head and walked past without him noticing me. Once we were now far apart, I took to my heels as fast as I could. It was several months later that someone narrated what happened after I left. The principal had come to complain bitterly that a stutterer was sent to him. Someone else was later posted to his school, and that was how I escaped the wrath of the NYSC. I got to ELF Petroleum, where I eventually accepted. While I was there, I was assigned to Cost Control Department, where I stayed and garnered a lot of experience. Then sometime in 1990, I saw a Nigerian brewery's advert for management trainee positions. I promptly applied. I put together my documents and posted them, but forgot to include my NYSC call-up letter, which was mandatory. Surprisingly, my best friend back in the day and college, Otu Moren, was a personnel officer at Nigerian breweries, and he was the one assigned to lead the shortlisting process. He called me to say he was going to reject me because my application was lacking one vital document. When he said that, I thought he was joking, but he didn't renege on his words. I lost out on the opportunity. We had a bond and strong relationship, but that didn't conflict with his values because we came from the stock of a generation which knew the purpose of values and integrity. 1 year later, Guinness Nigeria PLC advertised management trainee positions. I applied, and this time around, I had learned my lesson from my previous experience, so I included all the documents needed. Eventually, I got shortlisted and invited to an examination at Yaba College of Technology in Lagos. In attendance that day were over 4,000 other applicants. After the examination, I returned to Port Harcourt to resume my duties at ELF, and in the process, sought out my NYSC clearance. I later received the message that I passed, and I was invited for another interview. Unfortunately, I didn't have a single dime left on me to transport myself again to Lagos. I was stuck in Port Harcourt, even a day to the interview, with no hope of making it to Lagos. It took the intervention of a colleague by name Godwin Ugara, who handed me 80 naira and asked I take a night bus to Lagos. Following his advice, I took the night bus, got to Lagos around 3 a.m. and made my way to the interview venue. I was selected among the top 11 that made it management trainees into Guinness Nigeria. All thanks to Godwin Ugara for being my saving grace. During my days as a corps member, I set up a side business with a friend named DK Dimiri Dimirinta. We sold drinks and hired a young lady to prepare special delicacies. That was at the youth service NYSC camp, the next set. So as at the time I got the invitation from Guinness, my small business was still running, even though barely surviving. Sadly, the day of the interview coincided with the date of my passing out at NYSC. After getting the approval of our zonal head to travel, I had to leave the business in the hands of DK to manage. During the interview with Guinness in Lagos, I was faced with a panel of 5 men comprising Messrs. Biola Kokbola, the Human Resources Development Manager, Mr. Ansele Matiomo, the Personnel Director who is late, Mr. Jafar Yakubu, the Sales Training and Development Manager, and the late Engineer Ralph Alabi, the former Managing Director of Guinness. It was one of the most intimidating interviews I ever attended. Today is not a good day, I muttered aloud. Why? They inquired. I have a business that I run in the NYSC camp, and today is the passing out day. I have some debtors who are equally passing out today, and it means that all my money would be gone, considering that my interview was also fixed for the same day. And by coming here, I might lose money, I explained further. Surprisingly, they took interest and started asking me about the business and how I ran it, even as a corps member. DK Dimiri and I eventually recovered all money from debtors. Before the Guinness offer, I had applied to International Merchant Bank and Shell Petroleum.
Thank you very much. Do you have questions for the children?
Yes, my question would go to the children. Can you tell me, from this story I read for you, what are 3 basic lessons that you would have picked from this story? 3. What are the 3 lessons you picked from the story?
3 basic lessons you would have learned from this.
Keep your promises you make to God.
It said, keep your promises you made to God. Okay.
Perfect. That was a big one. Yes.
Yes.
Keep your promises that you make to God.
Okay.
Yes. Thank
Victor.
you. Any other?
Victor.
I learned that when the opportunity is not yet there, there's no need to quit because you don't know if another chance is coming up.
Okay.
You shouldn't lose hope immediately. Just have a good positive mind that something good is going to come up. You shouldn't feel down or something.
Okay.
Just know that something is going to come up.
Okay. David?
Always believe in the dream God has given you and opportunity He has for you.
Okay. Jemima?
I wanted to say that if what your purpose in life, that you should always go with your purpose in life, even if it's not according to how much value you wanted to earn in life.
Advice would be to parents, you know, these days a lot of parents do not really understand that their role, first and foremost, they are stewards. I want every parent to see themselves in the form of stewards. The children that have been given to you are gifts from God. And just like a farmer, they are seeds, they are arrows that are shot into the future. They are the letters to the future that you are going to write, which nobody can see. But they are the ones that will carry the entire legacy and heritage of who you are as parents. So whether you are a guardian, you are a biological parent, know that the children you have must be nurtured. You must allow them to express themselves by providing the right guidance. Our job is to teach them and to train a child the way they will go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. Starting from the point of winning them and helping them, supporting them on the journey. I have been very privileged. My parents have been great nurturers, great supporters. My grandparents also played a great role in making me a value individual. So I'm going to ask parents, please put in a lot of sacrifice into nurturing these ones, because they are the arrows that are being shot into the future. The values and the DNA of the family should be something that they will be proud of and they will take to the outside.
Thank you very much, Idonrinyen Enang, for being part of Readers for Growth. Thank you very much. I hope when next we call on you, you give us some of your time again.
Busola, always a pleasure, and I'm so grateful to God for this opportunity. And thank you so much. Thanks to AIT for allowing me, you know, to share in the joy of these beautiful ones.
Thank you. And that's it on Readers for Growth this week. Thanks to our guest, Idonrinyen Enang. Thanks to the children in the house. Victor, thank you. Thanks to Fauzia for coming on the program. Thanks to you, David.
Thank you.
And thanks to Jemima. And a big thank you to the children at home. Next week is another date on Readers for Growth. I am Busola Faiga Okpeolu. Read today, lead tomorrow. Bye for now.